I want to reach out to people who have no stance on gun control in our country. If we all have a better understanding about why we are experiencing issues with gun control, everyone will realize that firearms themselves are not the issue, but rather the mentally ill people that are capable of obtaining firearms. Some background statistics about firearms that were obtained from the NRA: the United States has 88 guns per 100 people, or in other numbers, 270 million guns, which is the highest capita number in the world. 22% of Americans own one or more guns, 35% of them being men and 12% women. The Second Amendment states a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right to the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. In Pennsylvania, you do not need a permit to purchase rifles, shotguns, or handguns. Firearms are not required to be registered, and it is not required to have a permit to carry rifles and shotguns, but it is required to carry a permit for handguns. In our country, we have experienced much tension in the last few years with shootings, whether it be police shootings or civilian shootings one another. I believe the government already has the proper restrictions on guns. It is unlawful for certain people to possess a firearm, mostly people convicted of a crime of violence, anyone convicted for more than 2 years on a controlled substance, a person adjudicated mentally incompetent or involuntarily committed to a mental institution, an illegal immigrant, and of course anyone under the age of 18 cannot possess a handgun. A minor may carry a rifle or shotgun when under the supervision of a parent or legal guardian, or an adult acting with the consent of minors, custodial parent or guardian. When the minor is in lawful activity including trading, target shooting, or competition, or a minor who is lawfully hunting or trapping in accordance with the Pennsylvania Game Code. It is unlawful to possess any firearm on school property or in a court facility. All these regulations are set by the NRA-ILA, National Rifle Association Institute for Legislative Action. We faced many mass shootings in our country within the last decade, from the recent mass shooting over the summer at the Orlando nightclub Pulse to the Colorado movie theater shooting during The Dark Knight Rises. In my own personal opinion, and even some survivors of these shootings have stated, that if there were tighter gun control laws, these tragedies would still have happened. In a way, gun control could run parallel to drug regulations. Drugs are illegal, but a staggering amount of people consume and sell drugs. If you took away the right to bear arms, it would turn into a black market and cause even more crime and deaths than what is currently happening. Most people only carry for their own personal protection. So say if someone had a legal carry permit and ended up in a mass shooting situation, they'd be able to save lives by harming or even killing the active shooter. This is a heated political topic in the current election, and by the time you see this video, we will know who our next president will be. But the two opponents now have a very different views on gun legislation. During Donald Trump's campaign, he has been a full supporter of the Second Amendment, and during a Trump administration, pro-gun legislation will be at the top of his list, and work with the NRA's campaign for a nationwide interstate concealed carry law. Trump also says that it's people's responsibility to report red flags when seen. For example, during the Pulse shooting, the shooter was reported to the authorities at the gun store after he purchased a large amount of body armor and ammunition, and unfortunately nothing was done beforehand. Mass shootings are also caused mostly by people with severe mental health issues. If the government started supporting more wards and hospitals, these people will not be out in the streets for this to happen. There are many other options to prevent gun violence than just putting a ban on guns and taking them away. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, wants to put tighter restrictions on the guns as an object rather than support the Second Amendment or work to find an alternative option to keep mentally ill and unstable people from obtaining these firearms. Like I previously stated, you put a ban on guns and it turns into a black market with sketchy people dealing out firearms, which will result in even more of a crime hike and a death toll. The media has swayed everyone to think that guns are the real killer, when the real killer behind the gun is initiating the act. What I want everyone to take away from this is that firearms are only as deadly as the person behind the trigger. I'd like everyone to start looking into gun control laws and how they could either work or not work for the safety of the public. The mainstream media tends to leave out major facts about the mass shootings and the killers behind it to put fear into people who are not well educated on firearms and firearm safety. I'd like people to gain understanding that guns do not kill unless in the wrong hands. Thank you for your time.